issues causing these problems needs to be identified and addressed. He emphasized the responsibility of the traditional institution, which he said has the trust of millions of people to help find solutions to the nation's challenges. And this is what the Sultan said. I'm going to quote exactly what he said. He says, "What are the real issues bringing about poverty and rising cases of insecurity? I don't think it is the issue of the new government. To me, this government is a continuation of the former government. It is the same party. So what really is the problem?" I think that is one of the reasons we are here to talk to ourselves. We owe it a duty to the millions of people that believe in the traditional institutions to bring solutions to the various problems facing them. We will not fail in doing that, and we will do our best. Now, also, you do know that, as I think last week as well, Sultan Abubakar actually pleaded with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to quell the hunger, address the hunger in the country, and that at the moment, traditional rulers who also serve as religious leaders are the ones actually keeping the youth in the north at bay. And he says that right now that is the last bus stop, and that for now they are still trying to encourage them, to tell them that this administration just commenced. They need to be patient and wait for the policies to take effect that will ameliorate the hardship. But he said right now that that hold, is slacking. They no longer have that stronghold to quell the anger, to quell whatever protest. And when that statement was made, it sounded like, is this a threat, or is this a symptom for something you consider to be dissent? I don't know how to describe the meaning of that, but I think according to what the Sultan disclosed on that particular message is that the president should act fast in tending to the challenges, especially hunger, increase in price of food items, and see how that can be resolved as soon as possible, because they're barely holding on to the northern youth. That's what the Sultan said. Also, we're going to look at one particular professor. Actually have I have an audio, because he was in an interview with Arise Television, one of the terrestrial television, and where he had an in-depth conversation with one of the hosts there. I'm going to play out what he said. Now, Sultan Abubakar is not the only person who has been making comments. In recent weeks, traditional rulers from the northern part of the country have been speaking about the ongoing hardship in the country, ranging from food to insecurity. Now, amid that is Professor Usman, and he was speaking on the current situation of the economy on Arise Television, and he was asked why the north and southwest have been the ones speaking out the most. Surprisingly, according to the professor, the southeast and south have been quiet, and if there could be a reason for that, and if the agitation for better governance continues through the north and southwest, will there be a political implication for the president? So in answering or responding to that question, this professor, who is a former executive secretary NHIS, Professor Usman Yusuf, said, in response to the question that was asked about northern leaders making complaints in the past few weeks, he says, "I honestly don't know why the southeast is quiet, uncharacteristically quiet, but then the president needs to find out. The north is where I know I live, and the silence in the north is more literal than the noise anywhere else in the country." I want to play an excerpt of that particular conversation he had on Arise Television, and it was quite in-depth, where he talked about the challenges bedeviling the nation, how supposedly Nigerians are coping with it, specifically the northern brothers, and the traditional rulers' reaction and responses all this while, and why it is also vital for the president to address these problems as soon as possible. It was quite a lot when he was discussing most of these issues earlier today, and I also wanted to actually consider quite a lot of things in that regard. For example, when we talk about some of these political trends, when we look at some of these issues and try to characterize where they're stemming from or what the problem could be, we see that the resolution made, right, sometimes may affect a couple of people. But the question is, all of this clamor, right, all of the complaints, is there a validity to these complaints? That's the question a lot of people ask. Is there validity to these complaints? And exactly how do we posit to create recommendations that can help that can resolve these problems, that can resolve these challenges. These are some of the issues that are being considered. And if we also look at how a lot of complaints are coming from several quarters in reaction to some of these issues, we try to consider exactly when things got to the point that it got to and why we're getting to hear some of those reactions. I'm actually trying to look for this excerpt so that I can play out the recording to you so you can hear him in that particular interview where he spoke in-depthly on some of these issues. I'll definitely try to take a listen, for us to take a listen to that. Just stay on with us, please.
Good morning, all. It's not doing at all. It's doing nothing. The primary problem is that it doesn't even understand the cause. It's in denial. The primary cause of what we are going through today is the recklessness of this government and this president by suddenly removing fuel subsidy on the day he was inaugurated, without looking at the balance sheet of the country, without consulting, and without knowing what the problems are. Flippantly, on May 29th, just removed fuel subsidy without having any fallback plans. You don't do that, and that's why we're going through all of this. Price of food is going up. Inflation, as at yesterday, was 29.9. The dollar, when they came to the naira, was 680. Today is 1,500. Everything is going up. And they are surprised because they don't have a plan. And I said it from the outset that in August last year, that Tinubunomics is nothing but a very painful pill for everybody to die. And people are dying. This president started this policy before he even assembling his team. It clearly showed that the president was being advised by shadowy, armchair, theoretical economists that know little or nothing about the sufferings of our people. And we all know all this policy is just a prescription they got from the World Bank in Washington, D.C. They got a prescription. And that prescription is killing our people. We've been raising our voices, telling the president and the governors. The president looks like he's just drowning. And the economic team, all they are doing is like flailing their arms as if they are drowning. I saw the three economic team the other day on TV at the National Assembly, and I was a lot more depressed than when it started. The Minister of Finance, the Central Bank Governor, and the FIRS boss. The honest truth is that they do not know how to get out of this mess. This self-inflicted pain they've put this nation through. They don't know how to get us out of it. And we are warning them, and being referred to as the fierce urgency of now from this government to get us out of this mess. We are in serious trouble. Everything must stop. There is hunger in the land. Democracy means nothing to a hungry, homeless man or woman. What they are doing is akin to a doctor coming into a room, patient's room, and just looking at the numbers. Oh, the blood pressure is this, the pulse is this, instead of looking at the patient. They have no connection with our people. Our people are suffering. Millions of people, predominantly women and children, go to bed hungry in this country of plenty. Nigeria has no reason to be poor. Nigeria is not a poor country, but our wealth is in the hands of a few. And we see that, even the cost of governance. They are living as if it is 1999. Our people are dying. That is why in the north, we had the voices of our traditional rulers. And they should take it seriously. You remember when the First Lady visited the Emir of Kano 2 weeks ago? The Emir of Kano told her, go and tell Mr. President that our people are suffering. There is hunger in the land. It was a coded message, because if the president does not read the papers, if he does not go through social media, if his advisors would not tell him the truth, the Emir was telling the wife, go and tell Mr. President. As a follow-through, all traditional rulers in the north met in Kaduna 3 days ago, and they came out with a screaming headline all papers took 3 days ago, read by the Sultan of Sokoto. And this country is sitting on a keg of gunpowder, and there is nothing more they can do to stop the anger of their people. They've run out of excuses. In the north, our traditional rulers are the last bus stop. When they start talking, leaders need to sit up and listen. We're in big trouble. Our traditional rulers and our clerics, 2 days ago, yesterday, the sermons in all the mosques in the north, people are suffering. There is hunger in the land. People are dying in the midst of plenty. Leaders sit up. Any leader who does not listen to the sufferings of his people does so at his own peril. What we are afraid of, we're not afraid of what is going to happen to politicians. We're afraid is what is going to happen to our country, Nigeria. This country we love dearly. This country that has given us more than we have given back. This country that has been formed on the blood and sweat and tears of our leaders past. No reckless politician is going to break this country up by his recklessness and not listening to the concerns of the people.
All right,
there is hunger in the land. That he could do it. It's his turn. This is not the turn of President Muhammadu Buhari. We spent 8 years criticizing President Muhammadu Buhari. We're tired. And I honestly don't want to even hear his name. He has messed this country up. And you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said, "It's Emilokan, it's my turn. I can do it." There is a saying that leaders have forfeited the right to make any excuses. It's your turn. It's not President Muhammadu Buhari that took away fuel subsidy flippantly. It is you. And you bear all the consequences of that reckless policy. So, it is you that we and God Almighty will hold responsible for whatever happens. It's not President Muhammadu Buhari or Jonathan. You can do it. You said it's your turn. Now do it. Leaders have forfeited the right to make excuses. And the way they are going about it, they are doing nothing. Let me tell you, it is the cause, it is the reason is inflation. It's not because there is no food in the market. It's inflation.
Interesting coming from Professor Yusuf. Now, Nigerians are asking the question, how come you are exonerating former President Muhammadu Buhari? Because former President Muhammadu Buhari, when he came on board at the time, said that the reason why Nigeria was in the death or in the cesspit of corruption or in the burden, financial burden, the economic challenges we were experiencing at the time was because of the 16-year rule of the People's Democratic Party, and almost all through that administration they blamed former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and now it's the turn of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some Nigerians feel that okay, maybe President Tinubu is too slow in terms of the policies he's implementing. Some Nigerians feel that maybe the policies are not tangible enough to take us out of those problems we're facing. But most Nigerians feel that former President Muhammadu Buhari put us in this quagmire. Now, the northern leaders have been complaining incessantly for the past 2 weeks. Some of their statements have actually sounded like subtle threats to President Bola Tinubu's presidency. In fact, they've gone as far as saying that there is no promise for 2027. I'm sure you recall when the CBN and FAN quarters was relocated back to Lagos, they said that this is not part of the promise that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised during his campaign, and that they do not see themselves having to posit or front for him or support him in 2027. Well, apparently, do you agree with Professor Yusuf? He's saying there is no point for you blaming a former president, Muhammadu Buhari. You said you could take us out of this quagmire, so do it. You say you understand what we're going through and that you have the magical wand to take us to a position that Nigerians can sigh, or heave a sigh of relief. So he says he doesn't want to hear Buhari's name. Well, most Nigerians have said that the northerners or some of these traditional northern leaders are not being objective in their reaction to what is currently going on. They ask, where were they when Nigerians were suffering during the previous administration? Where were they when kidnapping, insecurity was on the rise? Where were they when possibly the press was gagged? Why didn't they say anything? They had only kept quiet. Only a very few actually said something, but they were not as vocal as they are now. So the question is, why are you sounding different? What difference is there between this administration and the previous administration? So there's a lot actually going on that has actually set off the conversation. Now, this time around, we're looking at Elisha Abo. 2 days ago, he organized a press conference. In the press conference, he actually said quite a lot about the judiciary. We do know the case of Elisha Abo and what he is going through. Basically, he sounded like he has a lot of secrets to spill. So the judiciary should not just push him. They shouldn't push him because he was asked to provide evidence for the claims. He called the judiciary. He said that they're very corrupt, and the Court of Appeal has asked Elisha Abo to provide evidence for some of the claims he made during a press conference. And Elisha Abo came out again, right? I think 2 or 3 days ago, organized a press conference. The press was there, and he said that he doesn't want to deal with these issues on a personal note. He's looking at the problem, the issue he has with the court and the particular president of the Court of Appeal, and not his personality. That we shouldn't, the Court of Appeal or the judges or the justices shouldn't look at his personality. They shouldn't go personal, otherwise it will deviate them from the main issue, the main problem. I want us to just listen to Elisha Abo, what he said. And he also tried to encourage the press. He said the press was quiet when all these things was going on. I want you to make your decision or your conclusion from what you will hear Elisha Abo say.
I call for an international press conference where I addressed, or rather, I added my voice to the raging debate of the prevalence corruption within our judiciary, which have become a threat to Nigeria's democratic survival. because Section 13 of Nigeria's constitution, which is just a one article option in that section, that says Nigeria as a nation shall base on the principles of democracy and justice. The constitution of Nigeria and the Nigerian nation should be on democracy and justice. And section 14 of Nigeria's constitution says sovereignty belongs to the people and not to certain individuals in high or big offices. It belongs to the people. I ran for election in 2023 general elections. I won with majority of total vote cast. I campaigned through the nooks and crannies of the northeastern Nigeria, which is beleaguered by Boko Haram. In some of our outings, our campaigns, we encountered Boko Haram attacks. Not once, not twice in the night. Yet, because we believe in democracy, we did not cower, we did not give up. We continued fighting for democracy. And after all that, you come to Abuja and judicial bandits steal your mandate and they say you should not talk so that they can continue in their crime. In the past few weeks, I know whenever you fight corruption, corruption will fight back. In the past few weeks, few days precisely, social media have been awash with sponsored campaigns smear against my person, some of them going as low as using gutter language. I read one yesterday by one Comfort Obi, the publisher of Source newspaper, for over 1 hour plus reading, was insulting me. Could not even go into the matter I raised. They want suffocate truth. They want to deflect attention on the substance of the matter that I was raising by going into personality attack and not going into the salient matters I raised in my press conference and my petition to the president of the country and the Nigerian Judicial Commission, NJC. Even a baby know that there's corruption in the judiciary. They need reform, not attacking those who feel they can attack when they say there's corruption in the judiciary. When Justice Mohammed came out in his valedictory speech after he retired from the Supreme Court and said there's corruption in the judiciary, no one took him to court. When Chidu Adinkalu, among so many people, came out and said there's corruption in the judiciary, no one took him to court. When Senator Abbo said there's corruption in the judiciary, he said, you come and prove it. Take me to court. If you don't take me to court within 3 days, I will take it to court for defamation, so that I will go and prove the corruption in the judiciary. I am a big man in this country, whether I like it or not. I served in the Nigerian Senate, exclusive club. So I am unintimidatable. I have gone beyond being intimidated by a mere human being. I am too big to be intimidated. Using institutions of government, you cannot intimidate me. However, this is not a personal fight between me and Ijeoma. No, it's never. It is a fight between good and evil, democracy and undemocratic forces. Nobody can cancel these votes for free. Nobody. somebody will just come here and give any judgment that he deemed fit, not in the law, not in any constitution, and they won't get away with it. Bend down, select judgment. No single polling unit, no single witness was called, no single witness appeared in the court. People on social media. I'm a social media, in fact, I'm one of the biggest social media influencers in this country. If I say one thing, it goes viral. I don't need to pay money for it. I don't want to attack personalities. I want to attack issues, attacking the messenger, so that the message will not be heard, will not help them. Section 136 of Electoral Act clearly, maybe I read it. To subsections 2 and 3 above, if the tribunal or the court, as the case may be, determines that a candidate who was returned as elected was not validly elected on any ground, the tribunal or court shall nullify the election and order the commission to conduct fresh election not later than 90 days. If for any reason the election, you say you should order election if it is cancelled. In my own case, it was not, election was not ordered. And you journalists, you are keeping quiet? And when I give this thing, like last time, Arise Television, they went and deliberately, Arise, you are here, deliberately cut out places, did not discuss all the points I raised. One lady just said there, the former senator of Adamawa have accused Monica Damsa of sending her children. Did I say that? You were there. Did I say that? I said Court of Appeal has gone lower and lower under Monica Damsa as the president. And it is true. See what is happening in her state, in Jos. It's a shame. And the next thing, and I said, when I screened you, did I ask for money from you? Why are you judges asking for money from politicians? That was the case I raised. And the next one, Senator Abo is being delusional. They cut out 5 minutes toko and then bring that one again and join the one that they want projected and they put. Journalists, you are suffering. You are not being paid enough in this country. Journalists deserve more. Journalists deserve funds from federal government because you are the defenders of justice, you are the defenders of democracy, and you are doing a lot for this country which people don't give you the credit that you deserve. You fought so hard for democracy to be sustained, to be returned to Nigeria. During military regime, they were killing journalists. Why are they killing journalists? Because you are standing up, you are exposing bad things. You should continue doing that. Don't let anybody come and then, because of any other sentimental blues, you go and put what was not given. My brother who was commissioner to Akpabio, the SAN, who said he will take me to court, he was made commissioner at an Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State in 2000 we are admitted in the court in the case of my brother, meaning someone brought forged Beaver's report, forgery, and took it to court. When we realized that this was not Beaver's report as we obtained from INEC, we subpoenaed INEC to come to court, and INEC came to court. A deputy director appeared in court and he said, no, this is not our document. He denied that document in the court. Yet, Ijeoma said, whether I make them or not, me, I will accept. And sack my brother from the House of Reps. This is the court in Nigeria. What am I going to do? I have written petition to Mr. President.
And you just finished listening to Elisha Abo. Quite an interesting conversation, or rather press conference Elisha Abo had there. You do know that he is facing court action over allegations against the appeal court justice Dangban Mensem, and he is actually alleging that these justices are, corrupt. He referred to them as bend down select judges. He made quite a lot of statements there, and from what I can see, or rather from his expression, is that if what I'm saying is wrong, come and prove me wrong. I have my evidence, I have my proof. He's not afraid. Called himself the biggest social media influencer. One word, it goes viral. I'm sure you heard all of that, and he's standing firm by saying that there were bribery receipts, in fact, by the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongban Mensem, and he's saying that most of the judges at the NJC are guilty of collecting bribes, and he sounded like somebody who had evidence to prove this. And he's saying that if indeed what he's saying is a lie, then they should sue him to court. But if they know that what he's saying is the truth, he's going to sue them for defamation of character. That was quite a huge one. A lot was said in there, a lot that could actually, some people could consider to be treasonable, because that's a huge allegation against the Nigerian judicial system, which Nigerians have already been talking about ever since the elections were concluded. They complained about the judicial system and some of the rulings that were given by the judges, and they say that there is a lot that is not transparent. Now let's come to Aisha Yusufu. She's been very vocal lately. In fact, she's been saying quite a lot and expressing her discontent with this administration. She doesn't refer to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as her president. So you do know she's a right activist and one of the stalwarts of the Labour Party. And on Saturday, she accused President Bola Tinubu of rigging himself into power to kill Nigerians. Now that's a very huge one. Yusufu said Nigerians who experienced poverty during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari are witnessing another level of hardship now. And via her ex, the activist says those close to the president can't feel the hardship Nigerians are currently experiencing. According to Yusufu, and I quote, "The people that were in multi-dimensional poverty during Buhari, can you imagine what state they are in now? Tinubu rigged his way in to destroy Nigeria." That is according to Aisha Yusufu, what she wrote on her X platform. She went ahead to write, and I'm quoting, "The Muslim ticket and the Emilokon group will not feel it. Anytime they buy, they will just say at least they are rigged in, nothing else matters." And she went ahead to say Nigerians are different fora have been lamenting. Well, this is a general expression. Nigerians have been lamenting over the current hardship and experience in the country. We've actually heard of the protests that were organized in some states in relation to the current hardship increment in food items. And Nigerians have also accused President Tinubu of failure due to the inability of his economic policies to ameliorate hardship in the country. And just last week, the president met with the governors before he went for the African Union summit. And then, in sitting down with the governors, quite a number of regulations were made in that particular conversation or meeting he had with them. And one of them is the fact that Nigerians will not import food. He says we have food to take care of ourselves. You also recall when he returned from France, he actually said that 42,000 tons of grain should be released, to quell the hunger in the land. And then I remember the NLC saying that our Nigerians pigeons were crying we are hungry, and you're releasing grains to us to what, peck on? Is that what we have become? In regards to all of this, NLC is saying they're going to go on a 2-day warning strike to express, their discontent with the current economic reality on the 27th and the 28th of February this month. And it's actually quite a lot. So what do you say about what Aisha Yusufu said? Do you think she's expressing a lot, or she should curtail her choice of words? Whether we like it or not, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is now the president. I want to know what you eventually think about that. Also, in reaction to that as well, we have the defense minister, Matawale, actually warning Nigerians to be careful on the kind of comments they make. And I want to be specific about that. The unwarranted utterances against Tinubu's government will attract consequences. And this is according to Matawale, the defense minister. I will soon be introducing my guest in the studio, but these are the topics of conversation that actually generated quite the reaction in the course of the week. And the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, has disclosed that making unwarranted and unguarded statements against President Bola Tinubu's government over insecurity and rising food prices will have consequences. Matawale, in a statement by the Ministry of Defense spokesperson Henshaw Ogubike on Friday, cautioned Nigerians against using inflammatory comments against the government. He said unguarded utterances coming from some sections of the populace are incisive and destructive and can exacerbate tensions and lead to violence in our beloved nation. Matawale said President Tinubu is trying his best in tackling the economic challenges being experienced by Nigerians. The president and his team are tirelessly working to alleviate the burdens on the Nigerian populace, advising the agents of disunity to refrain from further unwarranted utterances. As such, it will generate consequences. It will have consequences. Matawale's warning is coming on the heels of anger over economic hardship and rising food prices. Now, the National Bureau of Statistics reported that the country's inflation rate increased to 29.90% in January 2024 from 28.92% recorded in December 2023. And we do know that last week, Niger, Kano, Osun states that protested against the high cost of food, while the Nigerian Labour Congress has declared a 2-day nationwide protest over the issue. Also, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar Northern Traditional Council, has warned that rising poverty, hunger and insecurity in the country would force people to revolt against President Bola Tinubu's government soon. So these are inflammatory, incisive statements that could exacerbate to dissent or anarchy. And Matawale, who is the Minister of Defense, is cautioning Nigerians to be careful of the utterances they make. You heard Professor Yusuf just now in his interview with Arise Television, talking about this administration. You also heard what I read about Aisha Yusufu, what she posted on her X account by claiming that President Bola Tinubu rigged his way into government. She has said President Bola Tinubu is not her president. So these statements, according to Matawale, are inflammatory and incisive. Also, what Saad Abubakar, the Northern Traditional Elder, ruler, some of the statements they've made so far about the fact that if the president does not do something in regards to the rising cost of living, that they can no longer hold their youth at bay. So these are the conversations that created, a lot of back and forth between Nigerians, specifically on X. And would you agree with what Matawale said? Also, with Aisha Yusufu, is she so extreme in her choice of words in describing President Bola Tinubu's administration? Do you also think that Nigerians are not patient enough to wait and see President Bola Tinubu's administration become become fertile in terms of his policies coming to work? But before they begin to work, how many people will die before we begin to see the fruit or the positivity in his economic policy implementation? So I want to introduce my guest in the studio, and that is Barrister Joe Nwokedi. Barrister Joe Nwokedi is a national political and social affairs analyst, and of course you do know Barrister Joe. He would tell you as it is. Barrister Joe, welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Thank you so much. Good evening, our viewers
and listeners.
I greet all of you.
All right, Barrister Joe, in light of all I put out there, what Elisha Abu said, what Professor Yusuf said, as well as what Aisha Yusufu said, what's your take on that?
For me, what's Elisha, the former senator that was hosted by the court.
Yes.
You said the allegation was very, very huge.
Yes.
That's the language of a layman. We call it weighty.
Weighty.
It's a very, very weighty allegation. And one allegation is very, very weighty in law. It is something very, very indicting, very, very injurious, and goes a long way in besmirching somebody's image or reputation. And to that extent, very, very actionable. So, being so much emboldened to call out the President of Court of Appeal and other high-ranking judicial officers, justices, in a press conference is something very, very daring. And it's not a good one for the country. It's not a good one for the bar. It's not a good one for the bench. For ordinary person to insult the temple of justice in a very open and disrespectful manner of that nature. So it behoves on the people, the vituperations were directed to come forward and deal with him. He challenged them openly. So he has his facts. He has, his proofs and everything. So for them to keep quiet, silence is not good in this very particular scenario. They should take it to their courts. They should call on the police to arrest him, charge him to their courts, tell him to come with his proofs, his evidence, to substantiate the claims of that corruption.
He was so brazen. I was like, wow.
Acquit means he knows a lot. Or maybe he has actually also participated in the bribe giving. He knows the route through which they give the bribe. He knows those actually collected the bribes on their behalf. He knows all their fronts, all the errand boys, and all the things that actually channels through which they give bribes to these justices. And I remember what Oputa said. It is the worst thing that can happen to a nation is when judiciary becomes very, very corrupt. So when politicians commit fraud, they run to judiciary. When criminals kill, they run to judiciary. When people do all sorts of things, they run to judiciary. Then if judiciary itself is now corrupt, where will people now run to? Oputa of the blessed memory said, may it never happen that the judiciary will also become corrupt. Where would the hope of common man now be? Even hope of the rich man. Boro is not a poor man, he's a rich man too. Because they always talk of hope of common man, hope of common man. It's not only the hope of common man now. Even the rich are also crying based on the level of miscarriage of justice going on in the country. To the extent that people are now mopping up money for bribing judges. I want to say experience that actually happened. So what I'm saying is that NJC also should purge itself of these allegations, because it seems that NJC have been so much infiltrated. Just like what happens at the police. We hardly see police officers dismiss DC, Deputy Commissioner of Police. We hardly see police officers dismiss Assistant Commissioner of Police. We hardly see police officers dismiss Commissioner of Police. Have you ever seen police hierarchy dismissing AIG, Assistant Inspector General of Police? They cannot dismiss them. Have you ever had police setting up committee to discipline DIG, Deputy Inspector General of Police? You can hardly see that. So once they get to that level, they exhibit unparalleled level of impunity. They don't recycle. Even DPO, Divisional Police Officers, that mostly CSP, or sometimes with connections ASP, they don't deal with them, except on a rare occasion. So because of these high-ranking justices are in appeal courts, some of them are Supreme Courts, you can hardly see NJC act. Because part of them are also part of NJC, and that is not good for the country. We are to be like magistrate courts or some other low-ranking judicial officers. You see them, acting like tigers, saying all sorts of things. And that will be a very big war. It's a big war between this country, that NJC is now fed up with people that are so corrupt, that cannot stand up. Because when you have your own kind of worms in your cupboard, you can't openly
But Barrister Jerry, let me take you with what the Professor Yusuf, what he said. Professor Usman Yusuf, the former Executive Secretary, NHIS, and he mostly focused on the North, like it was only the North that was going through the hunger, the poverty, the insecurity. And when the anchor of that particular interview session asked him and said, okay, you know that before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, we were already going through this. Unfortunately, even the former president was nonchalant, most of the time acted oblivious to what Nigerians were going through. And you've had President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on 3 different occasions actually empathize with Nigerians, that he understands what they're going through. Although a lot of Nigerians feel that his economic team, just like what the former NHIS president said, that his economic team are clueless, they don't know what they're doing. So in regards to all of this, when he made his statements, questions were thrown and say, why is the North acting like they're the only ones that make up Nigeria? Why are they making such claims? What makes them feel like they're the exceptional, region or the exceptional tribe in the country? Everyone is going through it. And then they ask questions, where were they when former President Muhammadu Buhari was there and Nigeria was going through this death, and they were quiet, or rather they were not as intense or vocal as they are now, and
they maintain graveyard silence.
Yes, yeah. and they've been making subtle threats. You heard Saad say we're the ones keeping them at bay. Right now we don't have the strength to hold them back
that's
anymore.
The problem I usually have with Nigerian brand of activism. I don't simply like that. I always tell them that be an activist and be an activist in all weather. Whether someone from your tribe is, at the hem of affairs. In fact, that is the right time for you to be an activist. Speak out against that person from your tribe, so that you have justification to speak out against someone else when something actually happens. Do you understand my point now? No, when somebody from your tribe is in power, you have this spirit of comradeship, fraternity, morabo, and all that. No, you don't need to like from our place. Let us, accommodate him, condone him. You are depriving and denying yourself the opportunity of speaking against any other person that may commit any offense or any crime or any act that might be related to what the other person that you kept quiet.
Okay. Why
that act was going on. So the North also, I usually even tell people, I said, Northern Nigeria, I don't really understand. I don't know. They always, project themselves as if, they have this special status in Nigeria. I don't actually like that. So then the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. For that was why I was one of the apostles of power must move to the south. Yeah, even when I don't need to mince words. I never wanted Atiku to continue from Buhari. I didn't want it. I said, worse, if Tinubu loses it, let Tinubu take it. Yes. I'm not, my way. I say it the way it is. I never wanted power to remain in the North under whatever guise, because the level of entitlement and the attitude of the Northerners towards other part of Nigeria is quite very, very, very irritating. If you go to Abuja, you sit in offices and everywhere. You'll be wondering, are you part of this country also, or are you just an attachment or anything to this country? But if you read the history of Nigeria, you make it clear to you that all the regions of Nigeria played a pivotal role in getting independence, making this country, form as a country. But then I don't know why. Now, hunger in the North, it was Buhari that actually made all these issues to get out of hands, out of proportion. When Jonathan was there, they did not actually accept all the transformational governments, transformational policies that he was trying to implement in the North, in terms of agriculture, in terms of elementary school, and so many things in the North. We are there comfortable with Jonathan. We are there comfortable. Jonathan tried to do almost everything in the North, even Otueke Road, even Northwest Road, they couldn't even do them. Every attention was at North, yet he couldn't pacify them. They still voted him massively out under Buhari and everything. They brought in Buhari. When Buhari came in there, Buhari became the most clueless ever. Buhari led the foundation of everything that passing through in Nigeria. You mortgage our oil, use our oil to borrow money, use our customs to borrow money, use almost all unearned income of Nigeria to borrow money ahead of time. Everything, Buhari used everything as collateral in Nigeria to borrow money. that he knew that the fifth generation could not pay. And then he was just moving around doing nothing. The attention under Buhari, Boko Haram expanded into banditry, into kidnapping, into so many things. Even in his own Katsina state, became kind of inaccessible, and they kept quiet. Northerners kept quiet. People could no longer go to their farms. They kept quiet. All these emergency vocalists or whatever from the north, they were mute. They were silent. That's not how to build a country. No, not at all. So what I'm saying is that for the facts they failed to speak during that time, they have lost the moral compass to talk. And again, they were part of people that actually ushered in this government. Tinubu garnered so much votes in the north.
There, exactly.
So either they are myopic in the choice of their leaders, or they are not smart enough to detect and identify a leader that will not perform. I don't need to cry over a spilled milk. A good and foresighted electorate should identify a proper candidate before election. There was this thing that is trending on social media, and I think Pastor Femi Lazarus, one young man is just trending on him, that said you cannot, as a woman, marry a goat, dress him up in a suit, get him on a wedding ground, and after the wedding begin to say, I bind you a goat, be like a human being, get bread, act like a one, said go just suit me. The man will say, you pray, bra, 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 la, pra, pa, pa, zundo, send the skin, the mama, you go do again, man. I don't know when I have watched that movie. I'll send it to you. He said, you speak and set a fire, go to those again, man. Because it was man that you put a coat on. So the North should have a rethink on their choice of candidates. But when the electorates present candidates, they always go for candidates that will have abysmal performance, knowledge of the system, knowledge of governance, everything. And unfortunately, I know why Northerners are always worst things. I always tell people, Northerners are supposed to be very, very careful in Nigeria. Many Northerners are making their money in Nigeria. 90% of Northerners are making their money in Nigeria. They're in almost all the ministries. They're in the army, they're in police, they're in customs, they're in DLE, they were everywhere. Other ones are the middle class men, not are farmers. They still make their money from farming. So they make their money from Nigeria. Most of the people that are thinking about people from the East, most of Eastern people are not making money from Nigeria. They have strong connections to people abroad. They have a lot of their people in abroad.
Yes.
They have so many people outside Nigeria, in South Africa, in Kumasi, in Zambia, in Angola. The day they were playing Angola match, some Nigerians were skeptical of whom to support, even Ivory Coast. Some of them I don't know, because they have people there. They have people all over Africa, all over outside Nigeria. So most of their money is not coming from this country. And some of them are into business. They're not into a kind of economy that the moment the economy begins to like shake, start affecting them immediately. And I always tell people something. Whenever you think that if economy is like terrible to affect people from this, I say people from South East are not complaining. One of them said it. Because they are traders, they're mostly traders.
Wait, let you reaction to what you know. I want to buttress what you're saying, because another Ismaila, his name is Ismaila Yusuf, he's known as Truth to Arawa on X social media, and he replied the former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, Professor Usman Yusuf, over his concerns of silence from the Southeasterners amidst the prevailing hardships under President Tinubu's administration, likely lead to a sinking ship. Now, Ismaila Yusuf emphasized the Southeastern region earlier warnings about the consequences of political missteps, contrary to the propaganda labeling them with a Biafra agenda. He highlighted their nuanced understanding of Nigeria's dynamics and their rejection of both President Buhari and Tinubu in past elections. Now, according to Yusuf, the apparent silence of the Southeastern region amid political shifts is a deliberate response rooted in a deep understanding of Nigeria's socio-political dynamics. He asserted that while others may misconstrue the silence as acquiescence, that is agreement, it is in fact a testament to the region's vigilance and foresight. He underscored the Southeast history of rejecting candidates deemed unfit for leadership, including notable figures like President Bola Tinubu and former President Buhari. Now, Yusuf elucidated on the Southeast electoral history, noting their consistent refusal to endorse candidates who failed to align with their values and aspirations. So he pointed to Tinubu's failed attempts to secure support from the region despite the political maneuvers, suggesting that such rejection reflects a Southeast commitment to responsible governance and collective well-being. Furthermore, Yusuf urged the nation to heed the Southeast perspective, particularly in electoral matters, citing their astute grasp of Nigeria's complexities and challenges. He emphasized the need for broader acknowledgement of regional insights and cautioned against dismissing their concerns as mere political posturing. In essence, Ismaila Yusuf's remarks serve as a call for electoral prudence and a recognition of the Southeast's informed approach to governance and political participation. Now, we do know his commentary underscores the importance of inclusive decision-making and the value of diverse perspectives in shaping Nigeria's democratic trajectory. In other words, a breakdown of all of this English from Ismaila Yusuf is the fact that the former NHIS president was wondering why has the Southeasterners been quiet, that we've seen protests from the Southwest, we've seen protests from the North, but the Southeast are not saying anything. And he's saying that these people told you from the onset, they warned. So what do you want them to do?
Yeah, when you warn people of an impending doom, an impending danger, if eventually happens, what will you start saying? Like somebody asked me one day, said, Joe, you're not so much vocal against this government. Because everything that we say against this government, we said it during the election. Do you want me to go to television and start attacking Tinubu? But I will never criticize Tinubu for one day. So you cannot see me jumping from one getting press release. I will not, because everything about Tinubu, we said it before the election. I've been in Lagos. I don't have anything against him. I even told somebody, the person even said, I say if Osibanjo had a march from APC and P2B, the third day of election, I'll be in my house sleeping. I will not even go to vote. Any of them in Nigeria will be in safe hands. One of my friends in our platform, that while I said that, I said it even before the primaries. As that is the kind of person I am. I say if they have emerged from APC and the other party, PDP and APC, P2B and Oshibanjo, that on the day of election, I'll be in my house sleeping. Knowing that whoever that actually wins, Nigeria is like in safe hands. So Tinubu, I say, it's a no. That I'm a student of history, as a lawyer. I read so many historical backgrounds of people, individuals in Nigeria, historical backgrounds of Africa, historical all these prominent people, even those that are alive and that I've actually read about them. So I knew a lot about so many people. So they have perspective of what somebody might become. So the South is there. They're also talking about. There's something people always forget about Southeastern. These people have actually fought wars, and they lost a lot during the war, and they were able to survive that war. They didn't survive the war by crying and shouting and being that victim mentality or whatever. They went to work. They accepted their fate, that they lost all the things they had, and began to work on whatever they have
from scratch.
From the scratch. One of them told me how they were at Oyimbo, looking for this Oyimbo, whatever park there, looking for whatever train, you don't park, looking for whatever anybody may say, stand on the train, railway park, selling something, whatever, anyhow. Simply under the train or whatever there, before one of them was able to rent a flat after the war, before they not live inside their house. Just my point. So people like that, don't expect them when they see danger. They don't go all about shouting. They begin to readjust. They begin to look at a way to like succeed in that predicament by talking and shouting, and we cannot help them because they know that you're already in these sheets. Then what's the way? What do we do? How do we manage ourselves? What do we do about this?
But do you think that?
And again, they want, like the other man is rightly said. The problem we have in Nigeria is that whatever that comes from Southeast will always be misinterpreted. How they call it IPOB, they'll call it agenda, they'll nickname it one thing or the other. But it's always misinterpreted. And because of that, some of them are not even disposed towards doing certain things again. They believe, okay, since our actions will be misinterpreted, what's the sense of even doing anything again? Let's just keep quiet. We are in it together. All of us, we're all buying it together. All of us are facing the same thing together. it's a rent that falls on everybody. So who is now exempted? Well, we not talk, we want. So once we are in it together, let's find a way out of it.
Well, that Barrister Joe, a lot of people have been giving their own inferences and interpretation of what the current economic situation is. Others have tried to analyze our political and economic landscape. And for example, there have been advice from the senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, that Nigeria should stop listening to the IMF. Others say that, some economic analysts say that this administration may be a little bit clueless and they relied on what the IMF told them to do. For example, the floating of the Naira and the immediate announcement of fuel subsidy removal. Without alternative measures, to placate. In place, yeah. Yes, exactly, to bridge the vacuum subsidy removal will create. At the moment, electricity is poor, and there's also electricity tariff as well. You can't buy a bag of pure water. Before, I think a bag of pure water was 17 naira. Now it's about 250.
250, some places 300.
Some places 300, and that's water just to drink. So if things continue to skyrocket like this, people are wondering what's going on. The naira to the dollar is about 1,600,
and there is no measure, no visible measure in place.
Exactly.
To
so
contain
that's basically why
the increase.
That's why a lot of Nigerians are asking questions, what's going on. But then, for the presidency's Minister of Defense, do you think most of these political leaders and elites, yes, that's Matawale, who actually have strong influence? One of them, Aisha Yusufu, saying that President Tinubu rigged himself into power. Also, presidential candidate of the Labour Party asking the president to fix the economy as soon as possible. At least he is respectful in some of the comments that he makes. Atiku Abubakar has referred to the president as a quack doctor, that he needs to do something as soon as possible in sorting out the economic challenges in the country. According to him, he stressed that Nigeria is in a dire situation. He likened Tinubu to a quack doctor trying to treat a cancerous patient. And so all of those remarks that are considered, that could be incisive, could exacerbate issues, could lead to dissent and all of that. Is there a sense of reasoning in what Matawale is saying, cautioning a lot of Nigerians from the kind of comments they make? And you saw a viral video of a young boy in school
wearing green clothes.
And they've cautioned against these people making such remarks. So what's your take before we open the floor?
Matawale should know that there are certain things you don't impose on people and allow them to keep quiet or condone it. This is survivalist kind of situation. Some people are not finding it funny. Some families are not eating well. Some people are falling down on the roads because the prices of commodities are above within the reach of people. There was a popular shopping mall that I used to go and buy things. I went there. So I was telling people, people crowd this place. So asked me, check what they are buying. Said, do you think they are buying anything? Some of them just buy one or two items. Some of them just go buy one item and go. And I was like a victim of that. I remember I wanted to buy like 3 or 4 things. When they told me the price, I ended up taking only one to go and manage it that way. Do you understand my point?
Yes.
Because my budget couldn't afford like 3 of those things. But I actually needed 3. And I said, do you check what they are buying? How many of them are coming with like quantity, products or whatever, or they just pick up 1 or 2 things and come down here. So unlike before, when you see them queue on the line, see quantum of all the things they will purchase.
Yes.
So Nigerians are dying silently. The cost of medication is on the very, very high.
Yes.
Average fruits. Some orange is going for 100 naira. Cucumber is about 300 thereabouts.
For big people.
Fruits are for big people. These are things that are supplements that sustain the lives of people. Then cost of transport increase is not yet checkmated.
Exactly.
It's not even stabilized. It's not even like, okay, this is the final level. It's crossed 1,000. Well, when it gets to 1,000, that will be like the government will do something and stop it at that 1,000. 1,000 to what is going on. Okay, when it gets to 1,005, at least it will stay here for like 1 week or 1 month or 2 weeks. Then now 1,600. I still moving on. And the presidency and the people around me, they seem not to even care. Because they still have some kind of billions of money around them, like Matawale, them that's, I know what he did as a federal governor, have 1 or 2 billion, 3 or 4 or 5, 10 billion around him. So he doesn't care. So he will not appreciate the sufferings of the people. I told somebody something. if you push a young man to the wall, he will commit crime. You can hardly see a young man that will be on the road and fainted and died out of hunger. He would rather be killed committing crime. The next thing on his mind is that how do I survive? Which gang do I join? You look at other young people that are like lively and start asking them what they do. If they tell him they carry gun and go out every night to rob, he will join them to go and rob. They tell him they are killing people for ritual, he will join them. Any update they give him at that time, he will take it. He can't be moving on the road and then slump and die of hunger. Young people don't slump and die. They don't do that. They rather engage in any form of vices. So when you push people at that level, those such people can talk to you anyhow. Some of them, no matter whatever, they don't like to get involved in crimes. Yes. So they'll pour that their anger, their outbursts, they'll pour it. They'll rather tell you to come and arrest them and kill them, take them to police and kill them there. Whoever you think that you are. So Matawale should treat the root cause of all this problem and not the symptoms. People that are hungry, that are frustrated, that can look at people that are being paid 100,000 naira now. What do you think it can do for them? A worker in my office broke down the cost of transportation. I began to cry. I said, okay, let me even add 10,000 on top of this. Not because I have. But I look at the 100,000 after breaking down cost of transportation. It was getting like almost 70-something thousand.
Exactly.
And a lady.
What is the essence? What are you now eating?
I said 70-something thousand. How do you now feed yourself? How do you buy your makeup? How do you put your hair? How do you do all those things as a woman? How do you buy your go and check roll-on 2005, 2008. Minimum thing that will make you to smell good. Not even to smell expensive, not even of perfume. Go to perfume and run away. Just ordinary roll-on. How much are they? Can that lady buy roll-on in a month? Can she do her hair? Can she take care of her toiletries? Can she eat food? 100,000. Which people that received 100,000 as salaries before had considered that have middle class. But now they are not. They are not. Someone receiving 300,000 naira now cannot buy a car. Exactly. For if he saves that money for 4 years, cars are like 2012-13 model car. To clear them is 9-point-something million. Yeah. To clear them, not what they're selling them. To clear them, to buy them nice, it's like 5 million, 6 million, 10 million, 12 million. 2018 car model, 2019, 2018, 2017 model. So if you're buying 2002, 2003 model, that's what you within 4 or 5 million. What kind of life is that? And you expect them to keep quiet. Now to travel abroad, you have made ordinary passport 130,000. To process your visa to Japan now cost like 15-16 million. Where would they get that money to travel? It has been the effort of the government to trap all the young people in Nigeria, giving them starving them to death in Nigeria. Okay. When they were trying to Japan, they were trying to find a way to make Japan difficult. Now those guys can no longer travel. How you get 15-20 million? Who give you such a money? Initially it was like 4 million, 5 million, 4.55 million. You can just leave this country. So people are being frustrated. The Matawala is even. I know the man should be very, very careful because the only kind of advantage between a rich and poor man is when the society is orderly. Once a society is in disorder, a rich man becomes more vulnerable than a poor person. Like what is going on now? There was a military man that was given 50,000 allowance or whatever to travel before. He came to the park and discovered the transport to his village will cost him 70,000. And going back to Maiduguri, do you think that there is a protest and you tell him to shoot, he will shoot? Do you think that military man that wanted to go and see his family member that has 50,000 and came to the park and discovered that the cost of transportation to his village will cost him 70 and couldn't go back to see his family again, went back to the battlefield, do you think he's happy? How many police officers are happy? How many of them do you think that will shoot? All these politicians don't know what is coming. They don't know that time will come when you command people, garrison to shoot. They will not even shoot. They will shoot, and it is going to happen. The next protest that will happen in Nigeria, may be surprised that most of the security agencies will join it. They will join it, and that's when they will know that to become rich will not be like a very, very dangerous fish.
Alright, it's time for us to hear your comments or read your messages. At the moment, I don't know where the phone is, or the phone, I'm trying to wait for one of the technical team to let me have access to the telephone so we can receive your calls But you can send WhatsApp messages or call on the WhatsApp number 0700 903 9039. Alright, you can send your messages via WhatsApp and call. Alright, let us know what you think. There's an issue right now, even the WhatsApp is not registered. I'm trying to get across to it. Okay, sorry, my mic was muted. All right, it's time for us to take your calls at the moment, and at this time I'm trying to see if we can get across to one of the technical team, because the phone lines, the number of the phone here, it's not the phone we used to receive calls. I don't know where that particular phone was dropped. I'm trying to get across to him, and you even your WhatsApp messages. So I would implore you to please send your messages on YouTube. We can read it out here, because at the moment I don't know what's wrong with the WhatsApp, and I don't know what's wrong with the phone line. The SIM is not active here. So the technical team is not right here in the studio. He stepped out. I'm trying to get across to him. So in the process, we're trying to get across to him, and we need to get your feedback. Please kindly send us messages on YouTube. We're currently streaming live on YouTube. It's at VOP 90.3 FM. So you can send in your comments. Let's read it out here while when the technical team guy comes in, we can rectify the issue with having to pick your phone calls or even get across with your WhatsApp messages, because what I'm reading here, the WhatsApp number is not registered. I don't know what happened between now and then the number through which we can receive your calls, the phone is not here. I'm trying to actually connect with the technical team, and until we're able to establish that connection, fine. But in the meantime, at the moment, where I can actively get to communicate with you is through YouTube, because we're streaming live. So kindly send messages on there on YouTube. It's at VOP 903 FM. So if you're listening now and you're trying to call, I apologize, I cannot get your calls. I was wondering, the phone was here, and apparently there seems to be no SIM or something. I don't know what is wrong. I wasn't notified about if we had any issues with the phone lines, and there is no technical team right here with me in the studio to see what they can do about it. And I'm trying to establish connection, but nobody is responding. So kindly come on YouTube. We're actually streaming live on YouTube. It's VOP 903 FM. Send your messages, and we'll read it out here. Hopefully the technical team guy would come in on time before the time of the program goes off. Barrister Joe Nwokedi, let's continue with you, because we can't have conversations with our listeners. We can't get calls. We can't read WhatsApp messages. We can only read comments on YouTube. So let me start off with Oga 404. Oga 404 says, Buhari that destroyed Nigeria, not Tinubu. Criminal Yusuf is not talking about Nigerians, only North. Okay, Fulanis brought Tinubu to avoid dividing Nigeria. And criminal talk goes ahead to say, country you loved. Okay, fine. Somebody says, Esther, please leave Aisha Yusuf alone and stop massaging the ego of useless leaders. Please send your messages on YouTube. We cannot get calls. We cannot receive WhatsApp messages for now. Okay, finally, the technical guy is here. I've announced your name so we can get your calls now. Hello, good evening. Hello. 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 Okay, we've lost that connection. Hello. Hello. All right, the number to call, you can actually call in now. The technical team has arrived, and we've been able to establish connection. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call, and the number to send your WhatsApp messages to. For now, we're still trying to set that up, so you can actually call. Hello, good evening. I do apologize. Hello, yes, this is VOP.
Yeah, this is one of the other listeners.
Hello.
Your
connection is very poor. Your connection is very poor. I cannot hear you properly. Please kindly call back. 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. How are you?
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
I can hear you. Wow. Now I can hear you and you can't hear me. Hello. Okay. We seem to be having a connection issue. So with no light, we're having connection wahala. There is Godo. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call, and we're streaming live on YouTube too, so you can actually send in your comments on YouTube for us to, read out what you think concerning the.
Listen to what you wrote today. Go for the brother over there.
Yes.
So please, maybe just join the first of many that are commenting on this issue. Number one, most people should not, talk now, because in their own tongue they did nothing. So I don't know why there isn't an alarm.
Hello? Hello?
I'm with you.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So please, their own time, I couldn't do anything. So why are they complaining now? We are on it, everybody on it. We will see the end of everything. And I want to join the government and make statement. From my president, when you enter there, it's good for the Nigerian constitution that way. So we are all waiting until the end of this issue. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you. It's disconcerting. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening.
How are you? Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location,
Hello?
please. I can hear you. Name and location, please.
Can you hear me, yes, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead. Okay. Today, we don't hear 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello? Turn down the audio of your radio, please, when you call. Hello? Name and location, please.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello, my dear. You see, my name is Samade, calling from Ejibo.
All right.
You see, the problem of Nigeria, just like the Northerners are saying it now, I know they are saying the right thing, but they are saying the right thing at the wrong time, because when Buhari ruled 8 years, they did not raise any voice. And you see, Tinubu is ruling now, and he's making mistakes, and they are putting him out. You see how the way people are condemning them, because when Buhari was ruling, they all kept quiet, which is wrong. I just understand the way things are going now. Tinubu just feel as if he's a lord for every Nigerian. You don't want to listen. Nobody wants to look at the matter where he's a failure in his state. Who is contested as a governor, and he's a sitting governor outside. And Tinubu just took him as a minister of defense.
Are you saying that? Are you saying the comment he made is wrong by saying we shouldn't make?
How can we move forward with this kind of situation?
Are you saying
Nigeria is sitting on both powder? I pray that Nigeria should move forward, and nothing will happen to Nigeria by the grace of God. Thank you.
Barrister Joe, do you think is wrong for what Matawale said? Because to be honest with you, things are already terrible. I think he's just trying to let Nigerians know that.
Who is even Matawale? Why would he be choosing for that post? That's what the last caller said. What records can we attribute to Matawale?
But he's Minister of Defense.
As Governor of Kwara.
He's the Minister of Defense now. Yes.
What background has he in that kind of office? Is he the best person to be there?
But he's doing his job.
That is the problem we have in Nigeria, political compensation and strategy. Somebody says something about Tinubu, which I'm beginning to believe. Tinubu is good in being a leader of a political gang, but not as a performer. Do you understand my point? He can win an election at all costs. He's a good as a street political life. And these things are too different from being a good leader. Being a good politician is different from being a good leader. That is just what has succeeded in achieving in his life. Because if you look at people he surrounded himself with, are those people the best set of people that will give best results in Nigeria?
Hello.
Yeah, welcome to the Political Spotlight. What's your name, please?
My name is Michael. I'm coming from again.
All right, Michael, please go ahead.
I want to make comments about what you are saying.
Okay,
I want to say my Igbo fellow people, they should not join in any protest, because why I say so, I remember when there is a side, how some people didn't join because they are just traveling studies. And I want to say them they should, any people should not.
All right, please, when you're calling, we don't want any ethnic sentiment in response, please. we're together. It's very important that we use this platform to establish that sense of unity and cohesion. That's basically when we talk about these issues. It's just for us to possibly give recommendations and you're able to express yourself, but no ethnic or religious sentiments in our responses to some of these issues. I would appreciate that. Kindly turn down the volume of your radio or your device, whatever it is you're listening to us from. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Welcome. What's your name,
Hello?
please? I can hear you. Go ahead. Just talk. I can
Hello?
hear you. Go ahead. Speak on. I can hear you.
Hello?
All right, you obviously cannot hear us. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. I have some messages on YouTube. Good evening, Esther. This is the only northerner in Nigeria that has ever spoken truth to the matter. This is from Innocent Okoye. Dada Adedayo says, evening, Esther. When you appoint a low-grade mind, eye service propagandist in critical positions, what you have is poverty, insecurity, gangster paradise, economic disasters, illiteracy, underdevelopment. Emeka Nweke says, quest for the restoration of sovereign. All right, okay. So 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. Innocent Okoye says, Igbos are looking for a good leader, not my brother who didn't know anything about leadership. Just come and waste our time. Nothing in the name of leaders. All right, 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. At the moment, we cannot connect with our WhatsApp, but you can actually call on the number 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Turn down the audio of your radio, please. Yes, hello? I can barely hear you. Your volume is so low.
Okay, can you hear me now? Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, hello, can you
You're
hear me?
fluctuating. Are you using a what do you call it? Okay, please, when you call, turn down the audio of your device, please. It's very, very easy to do. Okay, when you are able to establish connection, please turn off the audio of your device and talk so we can pick up other calls. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello? God, why do I keep repeating the same thing? Hello?
Hello?
What's your name, please?
Hello?
Okay, today we don't hear Barrister Joe. Network too.
Everything's having issues.
It's really bad. They call, I can't hear.
Intense heat.
Yeah,
you
I
can
don't
hardly
know.
give people light.
Hello? Hello? Wahala. 0700 903 903 903. Please tune into our YouTube channel. We're streaming live and write your comment in there. It seems the calls too, we can't connect properly. Hello? Hello? The problem I have is some people call and then they leave their device on. You can hear, I can hear myself at the background, and I've been reiterating, when you call, turn off the audio of whatever device you're listening to us from so that we can hear you clearly. Hello? Okay. So maybe this is network because I keep hearing myself and I'm not hearing the person. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. You can actually come on our YouTube channel and send your comments. We have an issue with our WhatsApp, so we can't read your messages from there. So send your comments on YouTube. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. And of course, we'll read out your comments on YouTube. Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello?
I can hear you. What's your name?
Hello, good evening. This is Peter on the line.
Peter, please go ahead.
Hello?
Oh, God. 0700 903 903 903, or please send us a message on YouTube so we can hear you. We don't know what's going on with the connection. It's very poor. We're hearing ourselves, we're not hearing you guys, and some of you can not hear us, but we can hear you. So I think there's a situation with the network. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, welcome to the Political Spotlight. Hello. Hello? Please turn down the audio of your device when you call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello? Hello? 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Debate TV says, is it the Southeast that has not elected a good governor in the last 25 years that knows how to elect a good president, like the Southwest who elected best governor like Fashola, or the North who, okay, that statement is not complete. Max Z World. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Hello?
What's your name, please?
Hello?
Wow, this connection is really bad.
Hello?
Hello? Wow. Alright, 0700 903 903 903. Barrister Joe, the network is not making me enjoy my program because I want to hear what the listeners have to say about the conversations we've had. Very few have been able to get through. Some have their their device on loudspeaker, and then we're getting feedback. Emmanuel Chijoke says, good evening, Esther Nwachuku and our guest. We all know that there are bad elements in the judicial system. We don't need someone like Elijah Abre to be reading the book of Lamentations to us. Okay? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, what's your name, please?
My name is Romeo.
Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo, calling from Agro.
Please, Romeo, go ahead.
What I want to say, it's our Nigerian people who get progress. And things are going wrong, and nationals are coming out to say something, and you're saying because of Buhari 8 years, and that is what the nationals will not protest. But now that it just Yoruba is doing, the nationals are coming out to talk. It's not right. The country is going down every day, and people are just sitting down to look. They will not talk, right? If you can remember, maybe remember the years of Buhari, things are not like this. The economy is bad. Dollar is going up to 1,500 now. And people that are sitting down that say the nationals are coming out to talk. It's not right.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Can you remember the massacre in Plateau that more than how many people in Benue and everything? Nobody kept mute. People might be bad in so many ways. During the time of Buhari, we saw the herdsmen on rampage in so many places, and they were not condemned. Even when the former late governor of Ondo State who wanted to set up a Motekun, Attorney General then even wanted to frustrate him. Do you know some Malami?
Yes.
Took up Akeredolu.
Hello. Hello. Yes. Good evening. How are you? Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Name and location, please. Okay. Today. All right. Okay. Emeka Weke is asking, where is the technician? Emeka, I don't know. This one is not technician matter. This one is network. Hello. Hello. Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Wow. You didn't know that you're already live.
Hello, good evening.
Evening. What's your name, please?
Good evening.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Okay. All right. Innocent Okoye says, Matawale telling us that if you complain that you are hungry is against the law, that means double wahala for dead body and the owner of the dead body. All right. Hello. Okay.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, evening. Name and location, please. Wow. Hello. Okay, Barrister Joe, please, what's your final take? Today is not
Matawale should just retracts his utterances. It's
what about those that consider to have made dissenting statements, like what Aisha Yusuf said, what the Sultan Abubakar said, what the former NHIS man said, Yusuf? These people have made comments that could be incisive, so should they take their comments back?
He should know that we are born out of the current situation of things in the country. You don't treat symptoms, you treat the root cause of an issue. You don't just, somebody on your journey, you are throwing stones at every dog that barks. You should know there is something that is making the dogs to bark. You don't keep on throwing stones on all the dogs that barks on your way. So what the Matawale should focus on, all the economic team of this present administration, is how to put a stop to all these things. We have enough resources at our disposal, enough manpower. And Tinubu should know, if these people you have as your team are not giving you what you want, change them. For goodness sake, bring in people with the passion, with the drive to make the country better. And again, if you now, like Atiku advice, if the shoe is too big for you, then resign. Let another person take over. Before they will be ousted, by khaki men, or through revolution, according to Shawara, or which other means that might be very, very embarrassing and very, the history will not treat you well throughout your generation, because today in history that's where you are removed from power.
All right, Emeka Wike is saying this network failure seems like a setup. See, Emeka, it's all over. I don't know. There are different explanations as to why. Some people say it's the heat, the fact that there is no electricity. So the network telecommunication companies are also relying on generator, and that's why I don't know. There are several whatever explanations to this. As for the fact that the network is bad today, I cannot explain it. It's been like that for a while. Dada Adedayo says, evening Esther, whereas your cash and carry INEC and judiciary has put us in this nightmare, the Nigerians has to bear with this nightmare in the next 3 years. It's a shame the ones that's ruling us. Okay, that's all we can take for now. We need to wrap up the program. Ensure that you continue to stay on at Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We get to break up these conversations and get to hear your input. For some of you that we couldn't pick your calls or we couldn't even hear you, I would apologize. It's not our fault. I just want to apologize. It's meant to be an interactive program where we get to hear your view and your recommendations. However, today it was very, very poor. The feedback was poor. So I want to apologize for that, especially for the WhatsApp that some of you couldn't send your messages through. We're trying to work on something so we can have that smooth communication with you in our subsequent programs. We want to say thank you so much for staying with us. Barrister Jerry, what's your socials?
Joe Nwokedi at all platforms.
Joe Nwokedi on all platforms. For me, it's at Esther Nwachukwu on Twitter. That's at Estic Media on X. Esther was on Instagram. Esther Nwachukwu on Facebook. And on YouTube is at Estic Media. To have yourself an amazing evening. Bye for now.